Leo had never imagined that a small device could change his life so completely. The translator device, a compact piece of human technology, was supposed to make communication with alien species smooth and simple. It was his first diplomatic mission on the planet Virelia, a world known for its towering crystal cities, advanced technology, and proud people. Humans had made contact with a few alien species before, but none were as enigmatic and respected as the Viral. As the shuttle descended through the lavender-colored clouds, Leo gazed out of the window. Virelia was breathtaking. Massive towers of transparent crystal rose from the landscape like frozen waterfalls. Streams of light moved along pathways in the air, forming patterns he could not yet understand. The people below, tall and graceful, moved with precision and elegance, their skin shimmering slightly in the sunlight. The shuttle landed on a landing pad that seemed alive with energy. Virelians, dressed in robes that reflected the colors of their city, greeted him. The air buzzed with unfamiliar sounds. Leo adjusted the translator device on his wrist and stepped down, keeping his posture confident. He reminded himself that humans were clever and resourceful. He had trained for this. "Greetings, honored visitors," Leo said, activating the device. He intended to say this in the simplest terms. To avoid errors, the device hummed and then translated his words into the alien language. A Virelian guard nodded politely. Leo smiled, feeling a small surge of pride. This was the moment he had prepared for. Soon, he was escorted to the palace of Queen Nira, the ruler of Virelia. The palace floated above the ground, supported by massive energy fields. The walls were clear, but they glowed softly as if alive. Leo's heart pounded. This was no ordinary mission. One wrong move could insult a proud civilization. He entered the main hall, where Queen Nira awaited. She was taller than any human, her presence commanding yet calm. Her eyes were a deep shade of violet, reflecting intelligence and curiosity. Leo bowed slightly. "Welcome, human," Nira said in her voice, translated instantly by the device. "We are pleased you have arrived safely," Leo nodded, returning her greeting. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I am honored to be here." For a moment he felt relief. The translator was working perfectly. He had rehearsed everything he wanted to say. Then, the glitch happened. Leo intended to say, "It is an honor to meet a leader of your wisdom and grace. I hope to serve as a friend to your people." But the device misinterpreted the word friend. In the alien language, the device translated it as wife. Leo spoke, unaware of the error. The words left his mouth calmly, but the effect was immediate. "I hope to serve as your wife to your people," the device translated. The hall went silent. A soft hum from the energy walls filled the space. The queen's eyebrows lifted slightly. The guard stopped moving. Even the floating lights seemed to pause. Leo froze. He had no idea what had happened. He waved his hand slightly, hoping to clarify. "Oh no, I mean friend. Friend." But the translator repeated the same words. Friend was no longer in its memory. Only the misinterpretation remained. Queen Nira stepped closer. Her expression was unreadable. She studied him carefully. Leo felt the weight of her gaze. The entire court seemed to wait for him to explain or withdraw. I apologize," Leo stammered. "There is a mistake in the device. I did not mean that." Nira's lips curved into a subtle, almost teasing smile. "Is that so, human?" she asked, her voice calm but commanding. "It is interesting that you would say such a thing. Tell me, how do humans choose who they wish to share their lives with?" Leo blinked. The question was unexpected. He opened his mouth to answer, but he realized the answer could be misinterpreted by the translator again. He paused, thinking carefully. "Humans," he began slowly, "choose based on trust, respect, and mutual understanding. We value honesty and courage." The queen tilted her head slightly, her expression thoughtful. She spoke to the court in her language, and the translator translated it back for Leo. "He speaks well for a human. Perhaps this mistake is not without meaning." Leo swallowed nervously. He had no idea what she meant, but it felt like he had just entered a test. Every word he spoke could be judged as an act of diplomacy or an offense. Over the next hour, Leo followed Nira through the palace. Every conversation, every gesture, was scrutinized. He tried to correct the translator, but each adjustment seemed to make the device more stubborn. The queen, however, did not seem angry. Instead, she observed him with curiosity and interest. During a meal, Leo carefully navigated the conversation. The queen asked questions about human life, human inventions, and human values. The translator, thankfully, worked well for most topics. But every time the conversation returned to relationships or loyalty, Leo worried about another glitch. He discovered something remarkable. Nira was not only intelligent, but she was genuinely curious about humans. She asked about emotions, decision-making, and problem-solving. Leo explained things carefully, emphasizing human creativity, teamwork, and courage. The queen listened intently, nodding occasionally. By the end of the day, Leo realized something surprising. The queen's demeanor had shifted from cautious curiosity to playful observation. She seemed to enjoy his company, and the way he approached problems was simple. Human logic, but the problem of the wife's translation remained. He knew that if he could not fix the device, he would be seen as something he was not, a human consort to an alien queen. The thought was terrifying, but at the same time, he felt a strange pride. He had been recognized by one of the most intelligent beings in the galaxy. His human qualities were being acknowledged even if by mistake. That evening, Leo was shown to his quarters. The room was large, with transparent walls showing the city below. Streams of light moved along the streets like rivers. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the device in his hand. He tapped it lightly, hoping for a reset, but it remained stubbornly faulty. Leo sighed. He realized that he could not simply explain the error and leave it at that. The Varelians were proud, and any sudden withdrawal could offend them. He would have to play along, at least until he could find a solution. But even as he considered this, he felt a spark of excitement. He was on an alien world, surrounded by beings of incredible intelligence and skill, and he was human. Alone, small, but capable. That thought reminded him why humans were respected across the galaxy. Humans were adaptable, creative, and brave in the face of unknown dangers. He might be far from home, misunderstood, and in an unexpected position, but he had something valuable that no alien device could replicate: his mind, his courage, and his will to act. Leo made a decision. He would learn the customs of this world, understand the people, and prove that humans were more than capable allies. And if that meant being called the Queen's wife for a while, he would do it not because of the translator error, but because he could show the Varelians the true value of humanity as he prepared for sleep. The lights of the city below shimmered like stars in a sea of crystal. He knew tomorrow would be challenging, full of tests and careful steps. But he also knew one undeniable truth: humans had the ability to face the unknown and turn mistakes into opportunities. And Leo intended to do just that on Varelia. With the Queen watching closely, he smiled to himself, feeling both nervous and proud. A translator glitch had thrown him into an unexpected adventure. But he also knew that his humanity, his cleverness, bravery, and honesty was his greatest tool. And with that, he drifted into sleep, ready for whatever challenges awaited him in the halls of the alien queen. The next morning, Leo awoke to the soft glow of Varelia's twin suns. Light streamed through the transparent walls of his quarters, painting the room in golden and violet hues. He rubbed his eyes and glanced at the translator device. It was still faulty, still calling him the Queen's wife. A nervous chuckle escaped him. This mistake had turned his mission upside down. But he had decided yesterday that he would use it as an opportunity. He dressed in the uniform provided by the palace staff. A simple tunic with small pockets for tools and gadgets. When he stepped out into the hall, the palace was already alive with movement. Servants floated on soft energy platforms, carrying trays of food and instruments. Guards with shimmering armor moved silently along the walls. Leo tried to keep his posture relaxed, reminding himself that humans were capable of adapting to any situation. Queen Nira awaited him in the central garden, a massive open space in the heart of the palace. Crystal trees bent gracefully in artificial wind currents, and streams of liquid light flowed across the floor. Nira stood tall, her violet eyes studying Leo with a curious intensity. "Good morning, human," she said, the translator device converting her words. "Today, we will continue our discussion from yesterday. I want to know more about your species." Leo nodded. "Of course, Your Majesty. I will do my best to explain." The queen gestured to a bench beside a small fountain. "Sit with me. Let us speak as equals, if your species can manage that."
Oh.
Leo felt a twinge of nervousness. Speaking as an equal to the ruler of Veralia was not something he had expected to do, even for a trained diplomat. He sat carefully and smiled. "Humans are very adaptable. We learn quickly from our environment, and we cooperate in ways that allow us to survive in difficult situations." Nira tilted her head. "Explain this cooperation." "I have observed your species in simulations. You rely on instinct, yet also on planning. How do you balance these?" Leo considered this. "Humans value intelligence, but we also value trust. We plan, but we also rely on our instincts and teamwork. When one person acts, the group adjusts. We are strongest when we combine courage and careful thought." The queen's expression softened slightly, though her eyes still searched him. "Interesting. And what of mistakes? You have made one here already?" Leo laughed lightly, scratching the back of his neck. "Yes, that mistake was unfortunate. But humans often learn from mistakes faster than from successes. It teaches us to observe, adapt, and solve problems creatively." Nira's eyes glimmered. "Perhaps this is why you survive, despite your small stature and limited strength compared to other species." Leo nodded, encouraged. He realized that the queen was testing him, not punishing him. He had a chance to prove that humans were clever, resourceful, and brave. Over the next few hours, Leo was introduced to the workings of the palace. He observed the Varelian energy systems, the automated assistants, and the complex networks of light that maintained the city. He quickly noticed small inefficiencies. Some systems were impressive, but rigid. Some tasks could be done faster with simple modifications. When Nira asked for his opinion, Leo suggested practical improvements. "If we adjust the energy flow here, it could save time and reduce waste," he explained. "Also, combining this tool with that sensor might allow more precise control." The queen watched as Leo demonstrated his ideas. She asked questions, probed his logic, and sometimes challenged him with alternatives. Each time, Leo calmly explained his reasoning. His ideas were simple, using human ingenuity rather than relying on complex alien systems. By midday, Queen nodded approvingly. "You are clever, human. Your solutions are unconventional but effective. Perhaps this is why your species has survived so far." Leo smiled, feeling a surge of pride. Even if the wife error remained, his human abilities were recognized. He realized that intelligence, creativity, and courage were qualities the Varelians respected as the day progressed. Leo participated in palace ceremonies and observed the interactions of the court. He noticed subtle cues in Varelian behavior, the way a slight gesture could indicate disagreement, how a pause in speech could show contemplation, or how eye movements expressed respect. Humans might miss such details, but Leo studied carefully, taking mental notes. During a meal, the queen asked about human family life and loyalty. Leo hesitated, knowing the translator could misinterpret him again. He spoke cautiously, choosing words carefully. "Humans value family, friends, and trust. We rely on those bonds to make decisions and survive challenges. Loyalty is important because it allows cooperation and courage to flourish." Nira listened, her eyes reflecting interest. "And what of love? How do humans express this to one another?" Leo thought for a moment. "Love is respect, care, and protection. We support those we care about and share knowledge, strength, and kindness." The queen nodded thoughtfully. She looked at him for a long moment. "Your words are pleasing." Perhaps the mistake of the translator was not entirely unwise. You may have shared truths your species holds dear, even in error. Leo felt a strange warmth. Despite the confusion, the Queen seemed to value his perspective. He realized that this misunderstanding might have opened a door to something larger, a chance to show what humans could do. Later, he was shown the palace workshop, where Varelians designed and tested inventions. Leo's curiosity came alive. He observed devices that manipulated energy, machines that altered gravity, and sensors that could detect emotions. He studied each carefully, asking questions, taking notes, and even experimenting with small adjustments. The Queen watched silently, occasionally offering guidance. She seemed impressed by Leo's willingness to learn quickly and try new methods. He was small and human, yet he did not hesitate to touch unfamiliar technology, make suggestions, and propose solutions. By the afternoon, a small crisis appeared. One of the energy conduits powering the palace's outer shield had a minor failure. Guards attempted to fix it, but the system was complex, and their methods were cautious and slow. Leo stepped forward. "May I try?" he asked respectfully. The Queen considered him for a moment and nodded. "Proceed, human. Show me what your species can do." Leo examined the conduit. Using simple tools and logical steps, he identified the cause of the issue and quickly applied a solution. The shield stabilized, and the palace lights returned to full brightness. The Varelian guards and technicians watched in amazement. Nira approached him with a smile. "You are brave, clever, and quick to act. Your species is different, but perhaps admirable in ways I did not expect." Leo felt a rush of pride. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans survive by observing, thinking, and acting quickly. It is a strength we have developed over many challenges." The Queen nodded. "Indeed. Perhaps your presence here will teach us more than we expected. Perhaps your species has lessons for us as well." As evening approached, Leo walked through the palace gardens with Nira. The light from the twin suns reflected off the crystal trees, creating rainbows in the air. The translator device hummed softly, but it still misrepresented certain words. Leo had learned to be careful with it, to anticipate errors, and to adjust his speech. "Do humans often travel to distant worlds?" Nira asked, her tone curious. "Yes," Leo replied. "Exploration is important. We learn about other species, other cultures, and ourselves. We adapt, cooperate, and survive. We share knowledge and solve problems together." The Queen looked at him closely. "You humans are small, yet you possess courage and ingenuity. Perhaps this is why your species is so resilient." Leo smiled. He realized that the Queen was beginning to understand what humans valued, not raw strength, but cleverness, adaptability, and the will to act. He had managed to show these qualities despite the translator glitch. As night fell over Varelia, the palace glowed like a beacon. Leo returned to his quarters, exhausted but exhilarated. The day had been a challenge, yet he had succeeded in showing his value. He had also gained a measure of respect from the Queen, something he knew could change the course of his mission. Sitting in his quarters, Leo examined the translator device again. He realized that mistakes could be opportunities. The wife error had been embarrassing, but it had also opened doors. Nira was curious, intrigued, and now cautiously respectful. His human qualities, intelligence, courage, and problem-solving, had begun to shine through. Leo made a mental note for the next day. He would continue learning Varelian ways, helping where he could, and proving that humans were clever and resourceful. Mistakes could become advantages if used wisely. That was a lesson he had learned well as he looked out over the city. Streams of light moving like flowing rivers, he felt a quiet pride. Humans were not the strongest species in the galaxy, but they had something unique: the ability to adapt, to think, and to act with courage. On this alien world, with the Queen watching him closely, Kayla was ready to show the best of humanity. He lay down to sleep, his mind filled with ideas for tomorrow. The day had been long, but it had also been rewarding. He had learned about Varelian culture, impressed the Queen with human ingenuity, and navigated his first diplomatic challenge. Leo knew one thing clearly. Humans could thrive anywhere, even in a world far from home. Their intelligence, creativity, and courage could turn errors into opportunities and challenges into triumphs. And on Varelia, he was only just beginning to prove it. The next morning, Leo woke early, feeling the soft warmth of Varelia's twin suns on his face. Today promised to be another day of learning, adapting, and proving himself. He had spent the previous day observing the palace, understanding the court's routines, and demonstrating human ingenuity. But now, he sensed something new, an undercurrent of tension that he could not ignore as he entered the main hall. He noticed whispers among the Varelian guards and attendants. Their elongated forms moved gracefully, but their eyes darted toward him with curiosity and caution. The translator device hummed quietly on his wrist, still faulty, still calling him the Queen's wife. Leo adjusted it nervously. He knew that while Nira had shown respect, others in the court might view him with suspicion. Queen Nira appeared, her presence commanding the hall. She walked with her usual elegance, her violet eyes scanning the room before resting on Leo. "Good morning, human," she said. "Today, we will explore matters of diplomacy and security. I wish to observe how your species reacts to challenges." Leo nodded, feeling the weight of her gaze. He had learned to remain calm, to speak clearly, and to use his human ingenuity whenever possible. "I am ready, Your Majesty," he said. The Queen led him to a large chamber filled with holographic maps and communication devices. Her advisors, a group of highly intelligent Varelians, stood in the background, observing silently. "There have been rumors in neighboring systems," Nira explained. "Some view your relationship with me as an opportunity to interfere. They may believe that a human has influence over Varelia. How would your species respond to such pressure?" Leo thought carefully. Humans rely on strategy, communication, and alliances. We observe our opponents, identify their strengths and weaknesses, and act decisively. We also adapt quickly to unexpected situations. Nira's eyes narrowed slightly. "Adaptation is key. Let us test this theory." She activated a holographic simulation of a potential alien incursion. Ships surrounded Varelia, and strategic points on the planet were marked as vulnerable. The simulation moved quickly, displaying enemy maneuvers and predicted outcomes. Leo studied the projection. Unlike the Varelians, who relied on complex calculations and rigid protocols, he approached the problem with simple logic. He identified patterns in the enemy movements, suggesting unconventional defensive positions and rapid communication strategies that could allow Varelia to respond effectively. The Queen observed silently, intrigued. Leo explained his reasoning. "Instead of following predictable patterns, we can create diversions and adapt in real time. Human forces are small, but we use creativity to amplify our effectiveness." The Varelian advisors exchanged quiet murmurs. Some looked skeptical, but others appeared impressed. Nira's lips curved slightly. "Your species' approach is different, but there is merit in your logic." Encouraged, Leo continued. He proposed simple yet effective solutions, repositioning energy shields, creating decoy signals, and using environmental advantages to slow enemy forces. The Queen's advisors began to take notes, clearly realizing that the human approach offered something new. After several hours, Nira concluded the exercise. "You have performed admirably, human. Your ideas show courage, creativity, and insight. These are qualities our species respects, even if they differ from our own methods." Leo felt a surge of pride. Despite the translator glitch, despite being small and human in a world of towering and elegant beings, he had proven his value. He had shown that intelligence and ingenuity could overcome assumptions about strength and power. Later, Leo was invited to walk through the palace gardens with Nira. The air was filled with the scent of crystal blooms, and streams of light flowed along the paths like living rivers. The Queen spoke, her tone curious and thoughtful. "Human, I am curious. How do your species maintain unity in times of conflict? You have demonstrated cleverness, but do all humans act as one?" Leo considered this carefully. Humans rely on trust, respect, and communication. We work together because we understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. Even when we disagree, we listen, adapt, and cooperate. Unity comes from shared goals and mutual respect. Nira nodded slowly. Your words are impressive. Perhaps this is why your species survives despite being physically weaker than many others. You use mind and courage to overcome challenges. Elio smiled. That is true, Your Majesty. Humans are adaptable. We learn from our mistakes and from each other. That is our strength. The Queen's expression softened, but there was still a glint of curiosity in her eyes. She seemed genuinely interested in understanding humans, and Leo realized that their growing trust was mutual. She respected him not just because of the wife's mistake, but because he demonstrated human qualities that mattered in any species: intelligence, courage, and the will to act. As the day continued, Leo noticed subtle signs of tension outside the palace. Messages arrived from distant systems, warning of political instability and potential threats. Some factions viewed the human-queen relationship as a vulnerability. Others saw it as an opportunity to gain favor. The palace staff moved quickly, preparing defenses and strategies. Leo realized that the situation was more complex than a simple diplomatic visit. Nira observed his reaction. Human, you sense the tension well. What would you suggest? Leo studied the communications and assessed the situation. He proposed several actions. We should strengthen our alliances, communicate clearly with neighboring systems, and show that Veralia is capable of defending itself. We can also use intelligence to predict movements and prepare for threats. The Queen nodded, clearly impressed. You think like a strategist, human. Your species' courage is matched by cleverness. By evening, Leo had been assigned to work closely with the palace's defense council. He analyzed data, suggested improvements, and helped design contingency plans. The Varelians were cautious, but willing to learn from him. They began to see that humans, though physically limited compared to their species, could influence events through intelligence, creativity, and quick thinking. During a quiet moment, Leo reflected on the day. The translator device still misrepresented some words, but he had learned to work around it. He realized that human qualities, observation, adaptation, and problem-solving were his greatest assets. The Queen's respect and curiosity were signs that humans could succeed anywhere, even in alien worlds far beyond Earth. Late in the evening, Nira invited him to the observation deck. The twin suns were setting, casting long shadows across the crystal city. Streams of light reflected in the air like moving paintings. You have shown courage and intelligence, human, she said. But there will be more challenges. Not all will trust you, and some may attempt to use your presence against us. Are you prepared? Leo met her gaze steadily. Yes, Your Majesty. Humans adapt. We learn, we think, and we act. We face danger with courage and intelligence. I will do what I can to help your people. Nira nodded, her expression thoughtful. Very well. Your actions will not only affect Varelia, but also how your species is seen across the galaxy. Let us see if humans truly deserve the respect I now consider giving them. Leo felt a mixture of pride and responsibility. He realized that his accidental marriage to the Queen was now more than a misunderstanding. It was an opportunity to demonstrate human potential on a galactic stage. Humans were clever, adaptable, and capable of courage beyond expectation. And he would show that in every decision, every action, every problem he faced. As the night deepened, Leo returned to his quarters, exhausted but focused. The palace was quiet, yet alive with energy. He reflected on the lessons of the day, understanding alien culture, respecting customs, and demonstrating human ingenuity were essential to survival. He examined the translator device again, thinking about the glitch that had started it all. A small error had forced him into a position of attention and scrutiny. Yet, it had also allowed him to show the true qualities of humanity. Courage, intelligence, adaptability, and creativity. These were strengths no alien could easily measure. But they mattered more than strength or size. Leo lay down to sleep, ready to face tomorrow's challenges. Political tensions, potential threats, and unexpected tests awaited him. But he knew that humans could succeed anywhere. They could thrive in the most alien environments by using their minds and hearts. On Varelia, he was beginning to show the value of human ingenuity and courage, and the Queen's eyes were watching every move he made. For Leo, the day had been a reminder of what humans could achieve. They were small, perhaps fragile, but capable of extraordinary accomplishments. On this alien world, with new challenges rising, he would continue to prove that humanity could survive, adapt, and excel even where no one expected it. He closed his eyes, determined to face the future with courage, intelligence, and the quiet pride of being human. The next morning, Leo awoke to a quiet tension in the palace. The previous days had been full of observation, learning, and small successes. But today felt different. Alerts had arrived from the outer systems sensors detected unusual movements near Varelia's borders. Nira had called an emergency council to discuss the situation. Leo, though still human and small among the towering Varelians, was asked to attend. He entered the council chamber, the walls glowing with maps and strategic projections. Queen Nira stood at the center, her presence commanding attention. Around her, the advisors and guards moved quickly, analyzing the incoming data. Leo studied the holographic projections, noting the movements of ships approaching the planet. He could see patterns that the Varelians had not yet identified. "The sensors indicate multiple fleets approaching our borders," Nira said. "Some factions may be testing our defenses. Others may see opportunity in confusion. Human, what is your assessment?" Leo stepped forward. "The fleets are not moving randomly. They are probing for weak points, trying to understand our response patterns. If we act predictably, they will find an opening. We must anticipate their moves, use diversion, and adapt our defenses quickly." The Varelian advisors murmured among themselves. Leo continued, explaining a simple but effective plan. He suggested repositioning energy shields at strategic points, creating decoy signals to confuse the enemy, and using environmental features to slow down the attackers. His approach was different from the Varelians' usual reliance on rigid calculations and standard tactics. But it was practical and adaptive. Nira studied him carefully. "Your thinking is unconventional, human, but there is merit in simplicity and flexibility. Proceed with your plan." For the next several hours, Leo worked with the palace's defense teams. He coordinated energy shields, advised on fleet positioning, and instructed guards on real-time adjustments. His suggestions were simple, yet effective. Relying on human ingenuity rather than complex alien technology, the first wave of enemy ships arrived. The Varelians responded as usual, using standard formations and energy barriers, but Leo's diversions, carefully positioned shields, and rapid communication allowed the attackers to meet unexpected resistance. Several ships were misdirected, others were slowed by environmental traps. Nira watched closely, her eyes sharp and calculating. She noticed how Leo remained calm, thinking several steps ahead while adjusting his tactics. He did not panic, even when unexpected variables appeared. The human ability to adapt quickly and improvise impressed her. As the battle continued, Leo suggested a new maneuver. "We can use the lower energy fields to create a temporary barrier, then direct the main fleet through a narrow corridor. It will give us a tactical advantage without wasting energy." The advisors hesitated, unsure if a human idea could succeed in real combat. Nira, however, nodded. "Proceed, human. Show me the value of your species in action." Leo coordinated the maneuver. The fleet followed his instructions, moving through the corridor with precision. The attackers were caught off guard, their formations disrupted. Varelia's forces gained the upper hand without significant losses. When the battle ended, the palace erupted in quiet applause. The advisors, once skeptical, now looked at Leo with admiration. The queen approached him, her violet eyes glowing with satisfaction. "You have done well, human," she said. "Your creativity, courage, and adaptability have saved Varelia. You have demonstrated qualities that our species respects and values." Leo felt a surge of pride. He had succeeded not because of strength or size, but because of human intelligence, courage, and quick thinking. Even among a species far more advanced physically and technologically, humans had their own strengths, the Queen continued. Your presence here has changed how we view humans. You are more than a small, fragile species. You are capable of strategy, innovation, and bravery. These are qualities we honor. Leo nodded, humbled but proud. Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans survive through observation, adaptation, and courage. We value trust, respect, and creativity. That is how we face challenges. After the immediate danger passed, the palace staff worked to repair minor damage and analyze the enemy fleet's tactics. Leo joined them, offering insights based on his human perspective. He suggested improvements for future defense, emphasizing flexibility and observation. The Varelians listened closely, taking notes and asking questions. During a quiet moment, Nira invited Leo to walk through the palace gardens. The twin suns reflected off crystal leaves, casting shimmering patterns on the ground. Streams of liquid light flowed along pathways like rivers. The Queen's expression was thoughtful. Human, she said. Your actions today have shown our people that humans are capable of extraordinary things. But I am curious, how does your species maintain courage in the face of danger? Leo smiled. Humans rely on hope, trust, and the belief that we can make a difference. Even when we are small or threatened, we act because we know our choices matter. Courage comes from responsibility, not just strength.
Out.
Nira nodded slowly. That is a lesson worth remembering. Your species' courage is admirable. It is not blind, but guided by thought and heart.
Out.
Leo felt a quiet warmth. He realized that his role was more than a mission. He was proving that humans, though limited in physical power, could inspire respect through intelligence, ingenuity, and moral courage. The following days were filled with planning, diplomacy, and minor skirmishes. Neighboring factions, having observed Varelia's preparedness, hesitated to attack further. Leo's strategies, though simple, had created a reputation for unpredictability and cleverness. Humans were small, but they were dangerous in ways that mattered. One evening, as Leo reviewed defense protocols with the Queen, she spoke quietly. Human, you have changed perceptions here. Not because of mistakes or luck, but because of your qualities or intelligence, courage, and willingness to act. I am beginning to understand why humans are respected in the galaxy. Leo felt a mixture of pride and humility. Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans do not always have the strongest weapons or the largest fleets. But we survive because we learn, adapt, and act with courage and creativity. That is our greatest strength. Nira studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Indeed. Perhaps this is why I allowed the mistake with the translator to go uncorrected. It has revealed the true value of your species. I am curious to see how far you can go. Leo smiled, realizing that his accidental marriage to the Queen had become a symbol of human potential. His ingenuity, quick thinking, and courage had turned what could have been embarrassment into opportunity. Humans were capable of rising above expectations, even in worlds far from home. Late at night, Leo returned to his quarters. The palace was quiet, but he felt the energy of preparation and anticipation in the air. He reflected on the past days, the lessons learned, the challenges faced, and the small victories that had demonstrated human ability. He examined the translator device again. Though it still misrepresented some words, he no longer feared it. He had learned to navigate misunderstandings, adapt to alien culture, and use human qualities to gain respect. The wife era had been the first step in a journey that proved humans could excel in any environment. As he lay down, looking out at the glowing city below, he thought about the future. Challenges would continue, and new threats might arise. But humans had a unique ability to observe, adapt, and act with courage. On Varelia, he had begun to show that intelligence, ingenuity, and determination could overcome even the most advanced and powerful opponents. He closed his eyes, ready to face tomorrow's tests. The real challenge of proving humanity's worth had only begun, and he was determined to rise to it. He was small, but his mind and heart were powerful. And on Virelia, that was enough to make a difference. Leo slept with a sense of quiet pride. Humans were clever, brave, and adaptable. They could turn mistakes into opportunities, challenges into victories, and show the galaxy the strength of their species. And he was only beginning to demonstrate that truth to the Virelians. The morning sun rose over Virelia, casting long beams of light through the crystalline towers of the city. Leo stood at the edge of the observation platform watching the activity below. Even after days of learning, planning, and demonstrating human ingenuity, he could feel the tension in the air. Rumors of distant fleets and political unrest still lingered, but the Queen's trust in him had grown stronger than ever. Today, however, would test not only his intelligence, but also the essence of what it meant to be human. Queen Nera approached silently. Her violet eyes reflected the rising suns. But they also carried a spark of something deeper: respect, curiosity, and challenge. "Human," she said, her voice calm yet commanding. "The situation has changed. We face a more complex threat than before. Some neighboring systems have formed alliances, hoping to exploit our perceived weakness. They believe that the presence of a human near their ruler gives them leverage. It is time to see how you perform when the stakes are real." Leo nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty." Humans face challenges by observing carefully, thinking quickly, and acting decisively. "I will do everything I can to protect your people." Nera studied him for a long moment, then gestured to a holographic map that filled the chamber with moving points of light. Several fleets were converging toward Virelia, some from known territories and others unknown. "You will advise our defense strategy, human. I will trust your judgment." Leo felt the weight of responsibility, but he also felt a quiet pride. Humans were not the strongest species in the galaxy. They had a unique strength: the ability to think creatively, adapt to unexpected situations, and inspire loyalty. He focused on the problem, analyzing every movement, every weak point, and every environmental factor that could be used strategically. After careful observation, Leo spoke. "We should divide our forces into flexible units. Some will act as decoys, some will defend key locations, and others will monitor enemy movements. We can use the terrain and the energy fields surrounding the city to create obstacles. Predictability is our enemy. Adaptability is our strength." Queen nodded, clearly impressed. She addressed her advisors, and Leo's plan began to take shape. The Virelian forces moved with precision, following human guidance that blended strategy and creativity. As the first wave of enemy ships approached, Leo noticed a pattern in their formation. "They rely on standard attack sequences," he explained. "If we break the pattern, we can gain control of the battle early, using his human intuition." He instructed units to shift positions unpredictably, create energy decoys, and manipulate the environmental fields around the city. The result was immediate. Enemy ships faltered, their formations disrupted, and their attacks became ineffective. The Virelian fleet, guided by Leo's strategies, gained the upper hand. During the battle, Leo remained calm under pressure. He adjusted plans as new variables appeared, redirecting resources and suggesting innovative solutions. He coordinated communication between units, ensuring rapid responses. The Virelians, initially skeptical of his small human mind, now relied on his judgment. His courage, intelligence, and adaptability were proving indispensable. After several hours, the enemy fleets retreated, unable to breach Virelia's defenses. The city and its people were safe, thanks to a combination of human creativity and Virelian strength. The palace erupted in quiet celebration. Guards, advisors, and citizens alike acknowledged Leo's contribution. He had not only defended Virelia, but also shown the value of human ingenuity in a galaxy of powerful and advanced species. Queen Nera approached him, her expression both serious and approving. "Human, you have exceeded my expectations. Your strategy, courage, and quick thinking have saved Virelia. You have shown that humans are more than their size or physical strength. Your species possesses qualities that command respect, creativity, adaptability, and the will to act. I now see the truth of your people. Leo felt a deep sense of pride, but also humility. Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans survive and thrive because we learn from mistakes, work together, and act with courage. We are not always the strongest, but we find ways to make a difference. Nira smiled, a rare and genuine expression. Your words and actions have proven the worth of humanity. The translator devices arise. The word wife was the beginning of this journey. It forced me to observe, to understand, and to respect the qualities you bring. Perhaps mistakes are not always disadvantages. Sometimes they reveal truth, Leo chuckled softly. The small device that had caused so much confusion had, in a way, opened the door to a greater understanding between species. It seems so, Your Majesty. That mistake allowed me to show human qualities in ways that might not have been noticed otherwise. The Queen nodded thoughtfully. And you have succeeded. You have earned trust, respect, and admiration. Not through words alone, but through action. That is what makes humans remarkable. Over the following days, Leo worked closely with Nira and the palace staff to strengthen Varelia's diplomatic relationships and defense systems. His insights were valued, his strategies respected, and his perspective increasingly sought. Humans, once considered small and limited, were now seen as capable, clever, trustworthy allies. Outside the palace, word spread across Varelia's networks about the human who had saved the city. Citizens and officials alike admired his courage, ingenuity, and calm under pressure. Leo had become a symbol of human potential, demonstrating that intelligence, creativity, and bravery could overcome assumptions about size, strength, and experience. One evening, after the immediate threats had been managed, Nira invited Leo to the palace gardens. The twin suns had set, casting soft light through the crystal leaves. Streams of energy flowed like rivers, reflecting every color imaginable. The Queen spoke quietly. Human, you have shown more than skill. You have shown the essence of what makes your species worthy of respect. Courage, intelligence, adaptability, and the will to act, these are qualities that transcend species. Today, I recognize that humans can stand among the strongest in the galaxy, not through force alone, but through mind and heart. Leo felt a warmth in his chest. He had not expected this, even after all his efforts. Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans are small in some ways, but we survive because we value trust, respect, creativity, and courage. These qualities allow us to make a difference, even in worlds far from home. Nira studied him, then smiled gently. Perhaps this is why I allowed the translator device's mistake to remain. It gave me the chance to see the true strength of your species. Your humanity has earned the respect of Varelia, and I am glad you are here. Leo realized that the accidental wife error had become something meaningful. It had begun as a glitch, but it had turned into an opportunity to demonstrate human qualities on a grand scale. The Queen's respect was now genuine, earned through action and integrity, not through luck or mistake. The following day, Leo participated in a ceremony honoring those who had defended the city. The Queen presented him with a symbolic insignia representing trust and alliance. The ceremony was both formal and celebratory, attended by Varelians of all ranks. The crowd watched as a human, small in stature but mighty in mind and courage, was recognized alongside the greatest heroes of Varelia. Leo felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility. Humans were no longer just observers in the galaxy. They were capable contributors, capable of influencing events through intelligence, creativity, and moral courage. He realized that even a single human, acting with determination, could change the course of history in ways that mattered. Later, in the quiet of the palace gardens, Nira spoke again. Human, today you have proven that your species is valuable, not only to Varelia, but to the galaxy. Intelligence, courage, and adaptability are qualities we will honor and respect. You have shown that humans are not to be underestimated. Leo smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment that went beyond personal pride. Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans survive by facing challenges, learning quickly, and acting with courage. We adapt, we create, and we make a difference. That is our greatest strength, Nira nodded. And today, you have shown it. I trust you, human. Not because of a translator mistake, but because of your actions, your judgment, and your heart. You are an example of what humans can achieve. As the sun set behind the crystalline towers, Leo looked out over the city. Streams of light shimmered along the streets, reflecting the hard work and dedication of both Varelians and humans. He knew the journey was not over, but he also knew one undeniable truth. Humans were capable of extraordinary things. Even on alien worlds far from home, the translator device still hummed on his wrist, occasionally misrepresenting words, but Leo no longer worried about it. Its error had started a journey that proved the value of humanity. His courage, intelligence, and ingenuity had turned a misunderstanding into opportunity, a challenge into triumph, and suspicion into trust. He stood beside Queen Nira, feeling the quiet pride of both achievement and potential. Humans were small, yes, but their minds and hearts could make a difference anywhere in the galaxy. Varelia had witnessed it, and the Queen had recognized it. Leo smiled quietly, knowing that this was just the beginning. Humans were capable of thriving in any environment, overcoming obstacles, and inspiring respect wherever they went.